Nagaland government pa state pharmacies thagya kanke registered pharmacists kanke appoint kribule order diade all Nagaland Pharmacy Association pra Friday de Kohima de press conference loigina taikan laga dictare janai dishe taikan kushe ki pharmacy kan itu order mani bole koshish pura kuri ase kintu state qualified pharmacists bishu committee thagya nimile taikan itu policy implement kribule dictar hoy ase data laga hisab te Nagaland de 1,157 pharmacy thagya kushe kintu registered pharmacists kan khali 278 ase association pra kushe ke juti itu policy chulaile Kohima ekla debi AG Merilitsa aro Lere aro Meluri Shamator aro Pek district nishna khande pharmacy ekta bi na thagi jabo association kushe ke health to state subject ase aro state government pa nijor laga state lagya hisab pra policy banabole pare kintu itu policy lagiale government pra sabole na parbo kele mane sokare health units kan sob tebi qualified pharmacists appoint kribule itia holibi na parigina ase kushe
February March. Instead, we decided to have an in-depth study of the ground reality as well as the implications of the department's action on the overall health sector of our state. Now, I want to stress on this because in the tussle between the department and the pharmacy community, it will be the general public that will suffer. That is the point I want to stress. Now, at the present point of time, NBA has done our bit. We have called this press conference so as to provide facts and figures and our side of the story for public consumption and cognizance by the Department of Health and Family Welfare as well as the Government of India. Now, I have said that we are also a victim of the corrupt system. Now, why I'm saying this is the point. Now, how the pharmacies are run in Nagaland? How are the pharmacies run in Nagaland? Because it is not a vegetable shop. It's not a vegetable shop, so we cannot just blindly open a pharmacy. There are certain systems we have to follow. Now, the procedure that is in the system that is being followed by the department is our pharmacy licenses are issued by the Health and Family Welfare Department, wherein they provided the name of the registered pharmacist and their registration number. We were asked to pay a certain amount for the license which each licensee has paid. Then the licenses were renewed after every 5 years. Renewal fees are charged from each licensee. This process has continued till the early part of 2024. Now, we are license itu license te apni video par cover that will be very good. Yade department by the SR Chaudhary is the pharmacist, person qualified in charge to look after this pharmacy. His registration number is 334. Now, system to kina we are laymen. One layman as it. Our one Jania to Department of Health and Family Welfare one get do pharmacy license to D when one Jani. So what we did is when application Lihina Jana department get, we asked for a license, a pharmacy license. When Jana do this department bar keep time by ready or after a few days, all of them which they only license to review locally in our Achawana when China when license license la fee do iman hole in our vision when you look at this. Now, department bra when it is the actual system is when applied revenue when or sold when pharmacist last certificate Luina Javo lage. Department never asked us for a certificate. Only then Nami Likina Dishio don't want to say maybe the department assigns someone to look after our pharmacies. Don't want to follow Wishi. In our when pharmacy to run great when I say. That is the reason why I'm saying that our business is not illegal. We have been running our pharmacies legally run one. The other point I want to stress is only media general public department is claiming that since 2020 by notice to when pharmacy community land knowledge to the first notification we got was in September of 2021. 2021. Yet I want everyone to think about this. I have a retention certificate in my hand. This is the retention certificate of a certain pharmacy that is provided by the department. Now, it is a retention certificate. It was given in 2023, and this license is valid till December of 2028. So department 2021, 2020 itulah pharmacy pon boleh pharmacist to mandatory hobo when atang janina hasil boleh. Why did they issue it? Itu retention certificate as there. They issued new pharmacy licenses even in 2024. Now, how is the department functioning? It is a big question right now. That is the reason why we are saying we are a victim of the system. We are a victim of the system. It does it. The other point I want to stress is Department of Health and Family Welfare started issuing orders to the pharmacies to appoint a registered pharmacist in the later part of 2021. Pharmacists in Nagaland took cognizance of the order, and hence pharmacy union was formed in each district, and efforts were made to appoint registered pharmacists, and at the same time representations were submitted to the department citing the difficulties faced by the pharmacists due to the shortage of qualified pharmacists and appealing for extension of time. When the 2 months, 3 months enough to national extension to them. Of course, the part we acknowledge. But when the department started implementing the policy with earnestness, the need for a state-level association was felt necessary, and hence, all Nagaland Pharmacy Association was formed on the 13th of March 2025. Yadi ita when clarify role munjalo, itulah issue nula raktule Nagaland pharmacists kan affairs kan dole Nagaland Medical Dealers Association bra. So say. But when this issue came to the fore, when NMDA giving one approach to it, but Thailand initiative to we were not satisfied. They didn't even call for a single consultative meeting of the other districts. So what happened was that the issue was going on. The closure of pharmacy was at hand. So what we decided was that we have to stand on our own. Itulah understanding bra on the initiative of Kohima Pharmacy Union, when state kan mati lucia inauna Nagaland all Nagaland Pharmacy Association do 13 March 2025 the form lucia. Still now Dimapur Sumagatima aro Newland duli NMDA rai rukhaina. They are unable to join us. But we want to send this message to the NMDA that we have no differences with NMDA. Our goal is the same, so that is the reason why we appeal to NMDA that it will be much better for all the pharmacy community if we can work together. When it will message we portray to them. Now NMDA form grabitide when NMDA come grabunwa inase. NMDA as a first step approached the department and submitted a representation to the principal director and the controlling and licensing authority, praying for a reasonable extension of time, but the answer we got was negative. Therefore, we decided to approach both the department as well as the government. We therefore submitted another representation to the Commissioner and Secretary, Health and Family Welfare, but again, the response was negative. Then we have submitted a representation to our Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland, and the response is still awaited. We have also approached our Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare, but we were denied appointment. We therefore sent a representation to the stenographer to our Honorable Minister. When published Health and Family Welfare Minister Duile, since he represents the whole Nagaland, we thought that he will be the right person to approach. Ito ang one approach ko try ko siya. he is reluctant to give us appointment. Even his senior BS is reluctant to meet us. Maybe they are too occupied with some other works. We do not know. But I think we expect our concerned minister to at least meet us and hear our grievances, whatever be the outcome. We have also been trying to meet our chief secretary, but is yet to get an appointment. Chief secretary, when Bishop Kole try to appointment meeting. Now, at the same time, when itu kurein na representation kami diyan na on an individual capacity as well as organizational capacity, when pharmacists to appoint probably try to when actually motor kurein na appoint probably try to but the fact is Nagaland does not have pharmacists. Nagaland does not have pharmacists. I will come to that point later on in more detail. Holibi when Ajida TV when she successfully employed when Ajida TV. We are putting in our efforts. Now the department at some point of time has claimed that we never took provisions of their notice. No, we have taken it very seriously. We have taken it very seriously. That is the reason why organizations were formed, and we are putting in efforts. We are putting in efforts. Holibi sukchi na thayana mansu na parayna mansu lode bat khabi bole to to pishi problem damor one is na hoje moi na problem do. We don't have qualified pharmacists in our state. Enough no. We don't have, I should say we don't have qualified pharmacists in our state. So itulah situation when they are forcing us to employ a registered pharmacist at any cost. Now how do we go about? Are we ready when it stress if the department can, think about the matter seriously, and since we are also stakeholders, if they can invite us, maybe together we can come up with a workable solution. That is also an appeal to the Department of Health and Family Welfare. Now, the other point I want to stress upon is ANBA fully understands the requirements mandated by law and we are willing to abide by it. One pharmacist now only we are coming to know that mandatory as a pharmacist to rakibo lagi. Well, we want to employ the pharmacists, but give us some solutions. That is what we are asking. That is what we are asking the department. Now, this is also very important. See, Nagaland being the only state in India without a pharmacy institute is faced with acute shortage of qualified pharmacists. India being a developed country with inadequate manpower to mitigate the shortfall of qualified pharmacists has even introduced diploma and pharmacy courses but still cannot produce enough pharmacists. Moreover, no state in India has thus far successfully implemented this policy. In fact, according to our controlling and licensing authority, Nagaland is the first state trying to implement this policy. Now, yadi ekta kota ase. Nagaland even union territories TV sold the pharmacy institute ase. Nagaland is the only state in India which doesn't have even a single pharmacy institute. And even the Nagaland government is unable to send adequate number of students to study pharmacy courses on government quota. Now, what is their plan of action? How do they mitigate the problem? Because they know very well that there's a problem. But we don't see any efforts on the part of the department as well as the government of Nagaland to mitigate this problem. Sabi, advanced countries can, European countries can to diploma in pharmacy knowledge. Time a minimum qualification to a bachelor's in pharmacy. Well, India to manpower neither. India is still a developing country. We don't have enough manpower. It was time pharmacy diploma in pharmacy course be introduced for this. But still shortfall to be other states, actually to Google grocery so alak states can decide Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and decide 50, 60 institutes. There are 50, 60 institutes in those states. How many pharmacies are they producing each year? Nagaland is the only state without a pharmacy institute. So government plan of action to be clear. Our still other states can even pharmacy institute that it to policy to implement no state has successfully implemented this policy. In fact, in some states the matter has been litigated. It is under litigation. So, Nagaland to condition our controlling and licensing authority has proudly told us that Nagaland is the first state to try to implement this policy. Are we in a position to implement this policy? I think it's a big question that the public deserves an answer. Public deserves an answer to this. Now, if you look at the ground reality based on various data, the ratio of pharmacists in Nagaland to the number of pharmacists in Nagaland to the number of registered pharmacists is quite disproportionate. As per the data provided by the department and published by the Nagaland Post on the 14th of February 2025, there are 1,157 pharmacists in Nagaland. Ito pharmacy kulina thane aside. License luina pharmacy no kulian do kiman 1,000 ho ito do when kuwana paro. Ito do data kale possible. I don't think it will be a small number. Whereas there are only 278 registered pharmacists according to the Department of Health and Family Welfare. Now, let's work it out. Time para Nagaland Post kuha isap dito, or Nagaland Post publish kuha isap dito, 1,157 operational pharmacies in Nagaland. Whereas time para data provide kuha dito 278 registered pharmacies in Nagaland. Out of 278, 252 the government employees are there. So government employees cannot run a pharmacy. So let's put them out of the picture. Now how much are we left? We have 26 pharmacies left in Nagaland to look after 1,157 pharmacies. Ito point, ito ay kasi. When my grievances be, ito ay. The other point, I think this is very important. Impact of the policy on the public health sector. ANB, after thorough analysis of the ground realities of the view that if the government is to implement this policy in its entirety, will put the public health sector in complete disarray. Here are some data in support of our views and for the consumption of both the general public as well as the department. Even in Kohima, the state capital, some colonies like AG, Merilita, Leary, etc. will be left without a single pharmacy. Pabisado one Kohima la there. Our AG colony, the largest colony in Kohima. Government pharmacy sub to shut down for the Leary dito ekta pharmacy bi nabachibo, Merilita bi ekta pharmacy bi nabachibo, AG colony bi ekta pharmacy bi nabachibo. To itya stop ekta 18 rupees for kinule colony la pharmacy di kini thado. The nearest place they can go is Pier Hill. Just think of the inconveniences caused to the public. Our rati bimar ekta hosi kiba ekta hosi bole. Even basic medicines bi dibo na parole. Even a simple headache, probably manu muri jai. Holy suddenly rati di bimar hosi guli do, to good parlo. Morning no hada isorge morning pramugi morning that murai dide when I ukhago na. Ito last situation iktari ase. That is about Kohima. Let's look at the data of some districts. Melori, Shamadur, Peg. Melori di presently 6 pharmacies are there. Pharmacy choita ase. Tadi ekta bhi registered pharmacist nai. Shamador de 4ta pharmacy ase. Ekta bhi registered pharmacist nai. Peck district 34 pharmacies ase. Tadi 2 in-service pharmacies ase. So in-service pharmacies kan to tayo na license to cancel korbo lage. So just think about this. Melori Shamadur Peck kan to ile whole district without a single pharmacy run korbo. Public la health to kila position ekta de rakhi dibo. So the district headquarters na ase. Now think about the subdivisions and rural areas. There will be complete chaos. There will be complete chaos. Now we want to ask the department, the wider question is the department in a position to fill the vacuum? Tayo pharmacy so bond ko. To tayo na policy to kiya ase. We are going to close down all the pharmacies, and in the meantime we are going to do this so that the public doesn't suffer. Tayo ito na point of action. Iktabi ase na ne. Tayo na concrete policy iktabi ase na ne. I don't think so. Now another point we wish to stress upon is that there is no case in Nagaland where a patient's life was either lost or put in jeopardy because of wrong medications administered by any pharmacy. In fact, everyone must refresh our memory and think of the services provided by the pharmacists during the recent pandemic, that is COVID-19 pandemic, when the department or the government was in no position to even provide basic medicines to the general public. Now, at that point of time, the burden and responsibility was borne by the same pharmacies that the government and the department is trying to shut down. It is one so public, general public भी हुई, कौन bravi नहीं हुआ ना पड़ो. COVID-19 तो किला situation नहीं. Pharmacy and thake na yuli put job hoise. Was the government even in a position to provide even basic medicines? No. What if another pandemic comes? Transition to smooth ho lagi lo. Transition has to be smooth. There must be a solution. There must be a solution. Of course, we are not saying that the policy is bad. Nagaland has to move forward. Nagaland has to move forward. So of course changes has to be brought about. But this kind of drastic decisions will put a huge vacuum in the public health sector. That is what we are observing. Now the other point is, health is a state subject as per the constitutional provisions. Meaning any state can frame health policies that is relevant and applicable to their state. Then the question is the government of Nagaland and the Department of Health and Family Welfare Department equipped adequately to step in and fill the void? Now I want to ask the department, do we even have a Nagaland specific health policy? If there is, make it known to the public. But I think the answer is a big no. Our government is unable even to appoint qualified pharmacists in all the government-run health units. Now I want to provide some data here. Public health units. Government-run public health units, TV, department pharmacists. In the meantime, we appeal to the department as well as the government to allow us to operate our pharmacies till such time the department comes up with a concrete health policy that is relevant to our state and that the public health care is not left in a vacuum. We assure that on our part, all our efforts, both individually and on an organizational capacity, shall be made to employ a qualified registered pharmacist. So, when in conclusion, when last day we appeal Goli Monaze, when we try to run, we have done our best, we are trying our best, and we shall put in extra efforts in the days to come. But we want both the general public as well as the Department of Health and Family Welfare as well as the government of Nagaland to look into the matter seriously. And come up with a workable solution for the interim period. till such time when we have enough pharmacists to take the mantle. So that the transition will be smooth, the public will not suffer, and everyone, irrespective of whether someone lives in the cities, towns, or rural areas, will get at least basic medical service. That is what we appeal to our department. Now, thank you to our media fraternity for your patient hearing. Now I'll open the time for Q&A.
You have mentioned that the government is